Welcome back to the Win It In podcast. I'm your host, Max P, and I'm joined today by the winner of our challenge, the infamous Frank Skelt. What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going, Max? How you doing today?
Good, man. I'm glad you can join me. I'm glad we can finally do this. Yeah. It's been a few weeks in the making,
nightmare.
But a little bit. It's just hard to find time to sit down and just record, you know.
Oh, that's life.
It's just the way it goes. And I saw you at the Invitational, the Open, and I was hoping we could sit down and really spend some time doing stuff, but it was crazy.
Yeah, that whole weekend, that whole event, it was just nonstop. There was always something to do. But that's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So before we jump into it, just want to call out real quick the CriticalEDH League, where I'm jamming a lot more and more these days, and just want to call it out because if you're not already playing there, I really highly recommend you do. It's become sort of the center of the cEDH universe, at least online. So if you're not already in the league, I recommend checking it out because it's getting to be pretty great. And as an example, I mean, you can wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, can't sleep, and go play some cEDH. So there's people jamming. I'm telling you, it's crazy. But yeah, with that, I mean, why don't we start just by talking about you a little bit? And when did you get into cEDH? How'd you end up in cEDH in the first place?
So I started playing cEDH end of 2022, I think, and I got roped into it visiting a local shop, and there was 2 pods of people playing. And here I am with a Nekusar commander deck. And it was just the most expensive wheels you could think of, and Cataract Parasite and all these things. It was not good, to say the least. And I tried out a couple other things. There were some budget constraints at first. I had a Lands Corvold that was without fetches, just the tapped basic land fetches.
Oh god.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough goings at first. Then found about the wonderful world of proxies, and I went with Obnixilis as my first. That was my first real deck. I got some decent results. I took it to LotusCon 2023, and that was my first real tournament.
Nice.
And
so your first cEDH deck was Obdex? Really?
Yeah,
was that it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the first one I can reliably say actually had cEDH cards in it.
As a Rakdos enjoyer, I applaud you for playing the second best Rakdos deck in the format. Yeah.
Second best, yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's awesome. And then what are you playing now? What are you playing these days?
I am playing Kefka these days. I just think he's in that nice sweet spot between Xai and then, I don't know, I guess a slower Grixis pile. I just think it's fun to be able to do something that attacks people's hands, because that's a kind of taboo thing it felt like for a long time.
You just want to make people suffer and laugh at them. I get it.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Terrible. A terrible person. I think the deck's cool though too. It's kind of interesting because to me it kind of fills the gap of where Tevish Crom used to kind of play.
I used to play Tev Crom before the bans.
Yeah.
Tried to make it work afterwards with Mana Vault and Manifold Key, and yeah, not quite.
Doesn't quite get there. It's just too slow. two 5-minute commanders is rough.
Not good enough.
Yeah. But Kefka, abuses that same feel, but then it's got this whole other angle built on it, which is making your opponents throw their hands away and laughing at them. It's great. So I approve. I like it. And then you did play in the Open, right?
I did. I got stuck in draw hell.
Oh yeah.
For most of it. I can't complain. I had a good time. Honestly, the quality of play was really good, even in kind of those mid-level pods.
Nice.
It's interesting to see in the past couple years the floor skill level of cEDH players. People are pretty aware of whatever's going on these days. When I first started, people didn't know stuff about Obnixilis or how the certain combos worked or anything, or how to properly sequence even the Necro line, right? Mm-hmm. And now people are they're on it.
Yeah, which I think is a good thing too, because it makes the whole Brewer's Advantage thing a little bit less common. You can't necessarily sneak into a tournament with a deck people haven't seen and get away with it like the way you used to in the old days, right? People, oh, you're playing Rakdos. Okay, those I know what those colors generally do, and people are prepared for it. And when you try to put your line on the stack and go for it, like they know where to stop you a lot more often. Yeah,
I agree.
Which is a good thing. It shouldn't be so easy. Like it should be hard.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So originally when I put out the idea of doing a little contest to get people on the show, you were different than what a lot of people did, in that you reached out and you said, here's my pitch, here's my idea, here's what we should talk about.
Thought I'd sell myself a little bit.
It was good.
Give
it was
it a
good. And it kind of introduced one of my favorite things when I used to read comic books back in the day is, what if? Imagine a different universe where things were different. And what would that world be like? And in this case, what would cEDH be like? And you mentioned, what if there were no partner commanders, right?
Yeah, something along those lines. The gist is, could we ever go back to no partners, or errata them out or something, or even banned as commander, have that come back?
Right. And you know what's funny is, I was talking to someone the other day where they were like, just let all commanders be partners. And I'm like, oh my God, that would be
too much.
That would be insane. So I think we can do both. Like, look at both worlds, right? Look at a world where there's no partner commanders, and look at a world where everyone, all commanders could be partners, and think about what it would be like. So let's think about that. Like, if there were no partners at all, the first hit obviously is, does Blue Farm just completely disappear? It does, right? Because you can't even play it anymore.
Yeah, you couldn't even do like a Brea. Well, I guess to really zero in on the hypothetical, does it account for the other like partner adjacent mechanics, like Friends Forever and stuff like that, or are those still around?
I mean, it's your world. You tell me.
I think for the spirit of like single card in the command zone, it would probably be what the closest thing is, Brea.
Right.
Just for hitting those colors. Yeah,
right.
I think it would just kind of devolve into 5-color good stuff.
I mean, 4-color and 5-color commanders just in general would be difficult, right? Yeah. I can't even like you got Sisay, you got Kinnan, you got Najila. Like those guys just become king, right? Immediately.
Yeah. You know? I think
Kinnan,
yeah.
Kinnan.
Oh, Kinnan's just like uncontested, I think. I don't know. I don't even know what you would play into that. You'd need like Curse Totem in the command zone, if that.
Yeah. Well, Tivit would probably be playable. Tivit would be good. I think a lot of those big commanders would be playable again. You know, even things like Atraxa. Like the only way to get to the big color piles.
Oh, but the turbo. If there's a Tali, it's no one's gonna stop a Tali. All your control-y decks are gone.
Right. Well, I think there'd still be some control. You get Esper, you get Marneus, you get Tivit. So they'd have to be the control decks in the format. But I don't know how you deal with Kinnan.
Bowmaster, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's tough enough to deal with him now.
Yeah. And no Thrasios. The Thrasios is gone. So no more Cradle decks, right? Cradle decks are basically dead. Because I mean, other than Kinnan, right?
Yeah. And then he would need like a different outlet, I guess, than Thras. But
you could still play the 99, right? Because you could still play Thrasus the 99 as a regular card, right?
Oh, if we're keeping, yeah, okay. So
right, yeah.
If we're keeping that, does Tymna become a 99 creature?
Tymna, no.
Not good enough for 99. You don't think?
Because like you think about like there's plenty of decks that have black-white Orzhov in them, but none of them play Tymna in the 99. None of them.
True.
Right.
Yeah. That would have to be like ultra specific, and I don't think you lose a lot of the utility that Tymna brings from being your commander, like turning on your spells and stuff.
Yeah, but Talion would be good again, I think. Right, Talion, Tivit, Marneus, you get all those control decks. You got Kinnan, Nyx would be good. No?
I don't know. He seems like he's kind of fallen off to the most part. I hate to say it. I love the guy, but he's like a LobbyCon deck, I think, now.
That's fair.
He's gotten too slow.
I've been trying to jam Florian in the Critical EDH League, and it's been a uphill battle.
Yeah, I can imagine. Not having blue or white, it's
it's just the problem is you're just waiting too long for windows. Like if you add white or blue, then you can create the windows to win. And when you're playing Rakdos, like you're really trying to win quick, and you can't. Like you have everything you need to win the game, and you know that your opponents have interaction, so you just can't push it. So you're stuck there waiting. And all you got is defense grid and some marginal counter spells with Red Blast or D-SWAT or whatever. Those just aren't good enough. It might change with like the Spider Punk coming out and some of that stuff, but
I wonder if Spider Punk is gonna be the extra little shove for turbo decks to just like you can't stop me.
I hope so. But let's flip it on the other side though. What if all commanders could partner?
I think it just becomes like an unpointed can lander basically with Rograk, and then pick your favorite 5-color commander.
Oh shit.
That's my thought. It's just like here's Roger 5 colors. Go nuts. Go crazy.
That's disgusting. You're right. That's insane, right? Because you just use Rog to power up your mana, and then that's insane. That's nuts. Rog Najila.
Oh. Throwing equipment on him or something. He's a warrior, right? He's got all those keywords.
Yeah, he is a warrior. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, give him. Oh my god, that's insane.
That's crazy.
It's not a good idea. I think it would be terrible. Yeah, they did it for like Pride though. They were doing like Pride cEDH events.
Yeah, I think people took it like they understood the spirit was to like come with something like funky, not just full optimize, full bore. Turbo, go nuts.
yeah. This conversation is interesting to me. The whole thing is interesting because last podcast I had Jason on Nastrom on, and we spent the whole time talking about Ristic Study and whether you should ban Ristic Study. And it's the same conversation around partners. We talk about the draw meta. We talk about how dominant Blue Farm is all the time. Like it's just forever. It's just been the best deck in the format. And like, frankly, I think a lot of people are sick of it. They're tired of Blue Farm being the number one deck, and they're frustrated. And you hear talk of ban Tymna, as a way to kill off Blue Farm, basically. And unlike the conversation with Jason, where we're like, okay, yeah, what would a meta look like? What would the world look like without Ristic Study? Where there's a lot of positives, so you can see pretty clearly. Like, I think the format would be healthier in a lot of ways. As sad as I'll be to lose all value in my foil prophecy Ristic Study, like at the same time, it's clear that there's positives to it. I don't feel that way about banning Tymna. And I don't know about you. I'll tell you my why, but what do you think first of all?
So I don't think banning Tymna would really do much. But if there was a way that Wizards could enforce limiting how many colors you could get with your partner pairing, like if you could maybe only do 3 colors tops, because then you get to keep your Tymna Dargos and you get to keep your Rog Thras and stuff like that. But you can't just build good soup the deck with Tymna Crom or even Tymna Thras.
See, I think my problem is that the only deck that's really perceived as a problem is Blue Farm. I don't think that people have an issue with Tymna Thrasios, for example. I don't think people have a problem with Tymna Tana, right? Those are still 4-color piles. The problem is specifically the Sans green pile, right? And it's because you get 2 draw engines in the command zone and you get access to the best colors, period. It just makes it's going to always be the best deck because of that.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing that Blue Farm is the best deck. Like, we're not in old school Flash meta, Flash the card with Protean Hulk, right, where everyone's playing Tymna Thras and just jamming all the time. It's been basically what I'm saying is like for the most part, it kind of seems like Blue Farm has been a benevolent king, because even though it's the top dog, Kinnan, Rog Thras, Rog Sai, even Sisei's coming back a little bit. Like, it feels like they all have a shot at beating Blue Farm. I think the Envy was just like a super secular meta that like people can point to and be like, oh, look at all these Blue Farms. Of course there's going to be a bunch of Blue Farms there. They're the best players playing the best deck. It's just what you do. So I don't think it's like, I don't think it's bad to have it.
The other thing is, like, I don't know about your experience, but like, I've always felt like pods that have Blue Farm in them feel like fair pods. They don't feel like you. I remember playing Modern when there was the Hogak summer or winter or whenever that was.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know if you remember that.
I didn't get the chance to play in it, but I heard about it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember those because like I go to Friday Night Magic and I'm like, I've got my blue-white control deck. I'm here to have some fun. I sit down and Hogak's like, I win, and it was so dominant. It was so difficult to deal with that it just killed the whole experience completely. And every game you sat down to, you felt like you were bringing a knife to a gunfight, and it just felt impossible. Blue Farm does not feel like that at all to me. It never. Like, every time I sit down in the pod, I don't go, oh shit, there's a Blue Farm player.
Blue Farm, yeah. Oh crap.
I guess we're toast. Like, I never have that feeling ever. You know, yes, Blue Farm, I think, has a somewhat higher win percentage, the range of players, but I don't necessarily think that if I sit down at a pod and everyone's super high skill, that Blue Farm has some kind of advantage necessarily over other high skill players with other good decks. Like, it just doesn't feel like that. So I don't think you have to. First of all, I don't think we have to take drastic actions to kneecap Blue Farm, period. Right?
Not specifically Blue Farm. I think if they're honestly like something like a Ristic ban or something else, but even then, like, I really don't feel like we're in such a terrible place in the meta that there's too many changes that need to be made that aren't kind of already fulfilling themselves. And what I mean by that is, like, if you look at the 20K, top 4 was all turbo.
Yeah. Well,
it's finding its way.
Let's talk about that. Yeah. Like, turbo is getting crazy. It's getting like especially like, and not the turbo of like, not your grandfather's turbo, right? I mean, I remember the turbo I knew was Rogsai, and if it wasn't Rogsai, it was turbo pilled Blue Farm, or it was Rakdos something or other. That's not
Godo.
Yeah, Godo, right? Exactly. But Godo's still, don't get me wrong, Godo's still terrifying. Hi, Tony. Easy. Easy, buddy. Easy. But no, I mean, it's still ridiculous. But Turbo right now is a completely different animal. And it comes in the form of mono green Lumbra. It comes in Latali. It comes in Raw. That's where the innovation in the format is right now, weirdly enough, is in that segment, I think.
My God, I know a local player that plays a lot of Ral, so I get some good practice playing kind of like a mid-range Grixis against him. As long as you can set up like a decent advantage engine, like a Ristic or a Mystic, there's a good chance you can tone him down before he gets to go off. But that deck is so fast, and it's very resilient for being a spell slinger kind of type of deck. And then I think the big thing with Turbo right now is that it's not one type of Turbo. Like, the things that would stop an Atali might not necessarily stop
Raw.
Something like a Rogsai or a Rao.
Right.
And then even more so for Lumra, because like you can't, it's tough to interact with Lumra. Like, if you try to remove it, they're like, thanks.
Yeah,
I'll just cast it again.
Awesome.
Yeah, get more mills. Let's go. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. In September so far, I've played a bunch of games in the league, the CriticalEDH league, and I've already started piling up the losses. Woo! But if you look at the losses were two of them were I've got 3 losses so far. That's a lot in 3 days. And the losses were turn 2 Rawl in first seat just goes off and nobody has any interaction or anything to stop them. The next one was turn 2 Italy, where again just goes off and nobody has anything to stop them. And it's like we've gotten so used to this greedy mid-range. I'm gonna play my Smothering Tithe on turn 2 or turn 3, and I'm not gonna keep any interaction. I don't need to, because no one's trying to win on turn 1, turn 2, so I'm fine. And people,
and then you find out.
And then exactly. Then you find out exactly. And I just see that happening over and over again. You have to have these conversations. You're like, whoa, like, listen, you have to mull for some piece of interaction of some form to hinder them, or your whole game plan, which is really to set up value engines and start grinding on turn 3, isn't a viable plan. You lose, right? Yeah. So people have to get that mindset straight, or Turbo will just dominate until people know what to do again.
I feel like a lot of people look at their early Mystic Remora or Ristic as a Stax piece for Storm decks. It's like, oh, you won't feed me a ton of cards, you won't try. And people are saying, watch me now. They're just like, I'll call your bluff if you hit your counterspell, you do it. But until you do, I'm gonna go.
Yep. cEDH TV just put out a video like a week ago where they looked at like 600 games of cEDH through content online.
Okay.
And they did a calculation, like how often does casting an Adnaz into a Ristic Study work? Right. Okay. Just to see, oh, make them have it, right? 75% of the time, he said, the Adnaz player wins through the Ristic Study. So your numbers are good. Like, people are going to shove it. They're just going to go for it.
Yeah, there's a point where just the overwhelming, if you're not countering the massive advantage spell up here into the Abyss, your Adnaz, a Necro, if you let someone get that many cards in their hands, they can probably beat you. I mean, unless it's like multiple people with a Ristic, that's the only thing I could think that would really lock it down.
God, and I see it happen so many times. Turn 2 comes around, like I tap out, I play a Ristic Study, they play a Ristic Study. They have no mana left. They have 2 cards in hand, right? Because they mulled hard. They mulled real hard to get that Ristic Study, because that's their whole game plan. Let's get this Ristic Study in play and let's just sit behind it and win the game through the Ristic Study. And they pass their turn, and the Raw player goes, yep, you got a Ristic Study. Yes, you could draw. Yep, go ahead and draw.
Oh, yeah,
go ahead and draw. Yep, draw.
Yeah, by all means.
Have another one. Please have another one. Please have another one. Do you have it? No. Okay, I win. And it's just over and over and over again, to the point where, like, I hate playing against these decks because, and it's not even about me. Like, I'll keep a piece or two. I'll keep some interaction. I make sure I have something. But I can't do it by myself. Like, and if the rest of the table isn't being equally responsible, those decks just run you over, man. It's crazy.
It's Ral is especially tough. And then if the Ristic player does stop them, if they do draw into the interaction they need and pick the right point, then you as someone after the Ristic player are like, oh, great.
Oh yeah,
right. I got this
exactly.
guy with 1 million cards in hand.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I'm here, I'm peacefully playing Tymna Thrasios. I'm like, I'm gonna be responsible. I'll keep this piece of interaction. I won't be greedy. I'll play my turn. I'll do a couple things. I go like land Dork Pass, and comes around. The guy taps out, plays his Ristic Study, super greedy, right? Mulled for it. Next guy goes completely crazy, blows up, almost wins the game, and somehow at the last second, the Ristic Study player draws the interaction to stop them. And now they have 42 cards in hand. And like, I had never had a chance.
Yeah, it's just the game was not decided for you. You did not have a stake there. It's tough, but it happens.
Yeah. But if you're watching this and you're the guy who got greedy and played the Heuristic Study, you're losing most of the time. You're only winning about a quarter of the time. The rest of the time you're losing. So don't do it. Be responsible.
Also be wise if you're countering a draw engine like Heuristic or something. Just look at the pod first. I've had a couple games where I'll put an early Heuristic down just to, like, in case, kind of what we said. So I'm also guilty of just relying on the Heuristic to stop the Storm player. But if you counter the Heuristic while you've got a Storm player that's about to go, it's an interesting choice. Maybe you can talk something out, like, hey, don't draw a million cards off this guy's turn or something. But
well, you get into the political thing where you're like, hey,
oh boy, yeah,
I see you have a Heuristic Study that you want to cast, and I understand that you want to cast that Heuristic Study, but I'm telling you right now that if you cast that Heuristic Study, I'm gonna have to counter it, right? And then I don't have this counter spell to deal with this guy, and you don't have a Heuristic Study, and we're probably just screwed. And no, don't try to tell me I'm throwing the game, because I'm not throwing the game, because if you have the Heuristic Study and he goes for it, I have zero chance of winning, right? So you're putting me in a position where my only chance to win is to counter this Heuristic Study. So don't cast it. And sometimes you can talk them out of it if you do that. That's the only thing I can think you can do.
And this is why you made the NB and I didn't.
This time.
Yeah, this time. Oh, better watch out. Yeah. I'm making a run this year.
Are you going for it? No,
probably not.
No, why not? Why not?
I don't have the vacation days to make it out and flights and stuff. It's expensive. It's an expensive journey.
Where are you from? Where do you live?
I actually live 45 minutes from Pittsburgh, so this was a local. The 20K was like a no-brainer because it was like walking in my backyard.
Yeah, can't you like drive over to Ohio and play events there?
I never get to see. This is probably on me. I just never like stay up to date with where the events are happening in Ohio. Plus, it's still like a chunky drive. It can be a little bit.
Because all I keep hearing is that Ohio is just where all the cEDH players are. You got NATO, you got Ty, you got all those guys out in Ohio.
I think it's like the Columbus or further kind of thing, which is already a 3.5 hour drive for me. And I don't know that I'm doing that morning of an event and expecting to have any kind of results against some of the real killers out there.
Although I will say the one event that I won, I drove 3 hours to the event in the morning of, played in the event, and I won. That's the one I won.
I was there for that. I actually talked to you for a minute about that.
Yeah.
That was sick. Back to like turbo. So the natural kind of like, if you do the rock paper scissors of mid-range turbo stacks or stack/control, people would say, like, as we're kind of speeding up now, people are calling the bluff of mid-range more or less. People would say that, like, oh well, then we're going to get into stacks. I don't think so. I think with the round timers, it's just not an option. I think the way the format is cannot facilitate a stacks meta, or like stacks really in the meta doing anything besides kind of key-making.
I think the card pool is really bad for stacks too, and the way that the way that games play out, because inevitably what ends up happening is some pieces come down that limit some players, but not necessarily all players. So you run into the situation where you have one player who can still play the game around all the stacks players, and they just run away with it because stacks, the deck that's built around stacks is going to move a lot slower, just generally speaking, than a deck that's still functional. And then the other problem is it just becomes a waiting game because everybody has the necessary tools to remove stacks pieces, and it becomes this game of everyone holding onto their tools and waiting for the right moment to remove the stacks pieces. And as soon as that happens, it's like the game was paused and now you push play again. And all those turns that everyone was just sitting there all get caught up in a single flurry of activity, and the Stax player still loses. And inevitably, you always hear the same story from the Stax player. It's like tale as old as time. I told him not to remove the Stax piece, and he did anyway, and we lost. Yeah, that's the pattern, and it will continue to be the pattern. Because nobody likes to play against Stax. It's miserable. So people will do things that are tilted. The people will do things that aren't necessarily the correct play, the proper play, when they're playing against Stax. And you just have a high percentage of games like that.
Yeah, there's like maybe like a little painted scenario you could do for like the Stax pieces not working on everybody. We were talking about turbo decks like Lumbra, Itali. So let's say you throw down a Dranith, but then you have something like an Anala, which I saw a lot of recently, is just completely unfazed by that Dranith. It's like, sure, great.
Yeah, or I already resolved my Thrasius. I don't care.
Yeah, that too.
Dranith is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have your Dranith. I'm fine with that. Now I'll just activate Thrasius every turn, and I will gain advantage faster than you can lay Stax pieces down. And that's just the way it works.
Yeah. But like you said, there's just really not good card quality in terms of Stax pieces that can maintain control of the board. And in combination with that, like in tandem, just all the flash enablers.
Yeah.
I think we're hitting a critical mass.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And you run into the best deck I always think about when I think about Stax decks is I always think about like Jetmir. And the reason I think about Jetmir is just because it has the ability to become so deadly so quickly. It just drop lots of creatures onto the battlefield that happen to be Stax pieces, and then swing for 1 billion damage every turn, and it just gets out of control very, very quickly. The problem is it forces people to take drastic actions because, okay, I'm going to remove the Stax piece now and incur chaos at the table, because if I don't do that, I'm definitely losing. And if I create chaos, then maybe somehow in the chaos I manage to find a way. And that's just going to keep happening.
Yeah, there's just really not a Stax deck that can close out through Stax, or like either through its own Stax or fast enough before someone can remove the piece to unlock the table. And like you said, by then it's just like the floodgates open and everyone goes nuts. So maybe it's a commander issue. Like there's just not somebody that can turn the corner. I used to think like Cephras could, because it's that Esper venture into the dungeon commander.
Good, black and blue.
Yeah, you get your concise win con there. Just do your deafening silence or I don't know. Having a concise win con in Thoracle seemed like it would do good, but then people weren't even playing it in the deck. So
yeah, I mean, to some extent, Talion was a little bit of a Stax deck. You ran a lot of Stax pieces and looked for ways to sort of control the board with Stax pieces. But the problem with Talion is the same thing. It's just hard to win the game. Like, you have to really hold the table down until you can get there. And it's just very, very difficult to do. And the difference is also just in overall deck construction. A huge portion of your cards do not help you win, right? Whereas everybody else's decks are really built much more optimally, where most of the cards in their deck are helping them win or helping them protect an attempt to win. And that's just a fundamental difference. So I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see Stax like reemerge to shut down Turbo. I just don't see that happening.
I think maybe you could see something like resembling Italian decks try and step in, but I don't know that it would. I don't know that even Control would really be able to shut them down. I think maybe Blue Farm would have to kind of relinquish trying to be Turbo and just kind of pull back the There was I think at least one Blue Farm list in the 20K that made top 16 that
there were a few
was
yeah
Well, but it was styled as a control list.
Okay.
It was running more of the free interaction and other like control-y pieces. So maybe someone's ahead of the curve.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and I'm playing Y'shtola a bit right now. And that deck is kind of like Talion, but it adds white, so we can actually win the game a little bit more effectively.
Scratching the itch a little bit.
A little bit.
I know you've been missing Talion.
Yeah, a little bit. It's good. Actually, the deck it's weird because you win, and I don't know why. Like, it's like I didn't do anything. I just I played some stuff and it killed you, and I didn't really have to do anything. Like I'm not putting complicated lines together. I'm not working through lots of complicated stuff. I'm just like, I'll play this piece and then I'll sit here and it works. It's bizarre. Mm-hmm. But I think maybe that's where we see Stax emerge, is not as Stax decks, but in decks that have ways to win and use Stax to slow the game down a little bit to get there.
I think if I had to pick one Stax piece that would work pretty well against most decks in the format, I would have to say Damping Sphere.
I had Damping Sphere in Y'shtola.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it shuts off Storm, it shuts off Cradle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's powerful.
If all you need in your deck to win is maybe a Silence Effect, Thoracle, and Decon, then, you're tacking on 2 extra mana. Yeah. But if you need to sit there and cast LED 10 times through your breach line or whatever, it's going to add up. But
have a nice, clear, crisp, concise line, then you can do it. But you know what the problem with Damping Sphere is it shuts down breach lines most of the time. It shuts down Storm. It also shuts down Happiness. That's the problem.
Tough luck.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say. It shuts down Cradle, too.
It does, yeah. Yeah. But those games, God, they suck so bad. You're like, I play the Damping Sphere, and then nobody does anything for like 8 turns. You just sit there. It's just awful. Yeah.
It has the secret flavored text of it brings the bracket down a level.
Yeah, that's right. That should be like an automatic qualifier on Moxfield. Like, oh, you have Damping Sphere in your deck. Okay, this is bracket 4 tops. Tops.
It's a limiter.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
So what else? What do you got? What kind of stuff you got coming up? Any events in the tank or
any
in
events
the pipeline?
In the tank? I will. So a local shop to me recently, they're part of the top deck circuit now. So that's a big bonus because hopefully that'll draw some more people in, bring some visibility because it'll show up on the top deck lists. It's called Guy on the Couch.
Oh, nice. It's a good name.
It's a pretty decent. Yeah, it's a pretty
named it after
shop.
me. That was nice. Yeah, that's good of them. Yeah.
Or half the player base.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's neither here nor
there.
But
mostly me. But yeah. Sure. So they're doing like weekly events and stuff now, or are they?
Yes, I believe Sundays at 1, which might be tough for some people, but it's maybe you can catch your Saturday event in Ohio or whatever, and then a local kind of more chill event. Definitely like a bronze.
Yeah,
doesn't get too many people, but it's nice.
I gotta start somewhere. Yeah. Like my locals were like that for forever, and now we're finally at the point where like we're right on the cusp of that 60 player mark.
That's like the spot to be though, right? Because like it can be a lot with 514 people, and the same thing. It can be a little overwhelming.
Oh, it's exhausting. The
noise.
Yeah, and the rounds, so many rounds. Like at a certain point, like in every round being such high stress, like it's exhausting. Like I'm going to travel again and do the big tournaments this year. I'm going to Fishbowl already. I'm going to Birmingham, England, to do a tournament in a few weeks, and that's going to be like 150 people. Talk about traveling. I'm going to do the Royal Rumble up in Boston again.
Nice.
In January. So I'm going to do it again. But God, I'm like, I'm dreading almost like getting on the plane, flying over there, keeping all my shit together, not being at home. All that stuff is hard, dude. It's exhausting.
You're thinking about that now, but once you sit down, round one, staring across at maybe some familiar faces, you'll be like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Have you seen me at round one? Have you ever played against me in round one?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
I'm like, my face is green. I look like I'm gonna puke. Like, I feel like I'm gonna puke. My hands are shaking. I'm like sweating. It's awful.
Oh, I gotta tell you, I got a quick story about round one for the 20K in Pittsburgh. Super short. So we sit down. It's Kinnan, me on Kefka, and then our third player hasn't shown up yet, and then Anala in fourth seat. And we're all sitting there. We're like starting to chat and stuff. Third player still isn't showing up. We call a judge over. We're like, hey, what do we do? It's just round one. I'm expecting to play. I'm like all amped up. I got the jitters a little bit. And then they're like, you can start your mulligans. They're going to get turn skip. If it gets to 5 minutes, then they'll be DQ'd from the round. They'll be dropped. We're like, okay. So we just start on our mulligans. We're each at like 5 and then 4 in hand. And we're like, the Kinnan player in first seat, no less, is like, do you guys just want to call it a draw and go get breakfast or something?
Oh, no.
And I was like, honestly, in retrospect, I was looking at a hand that probably worked for me, but I was just so nervous and like, I hadn't eaten anything yet. I was like, yeah, I'll take the draw. I don't care.
Oh, that's crazy.
We took a draw. And
that's hilarious. Oh my God. That's like, everyone watches this like, no, you can't do that. Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
But I know that feeling. I know that feeling. But see, my problem is if I do that, right, I take the draw and then I get to sweat for the next hour and a half before I finally get to play that game. I'm like, at that point, I'll play it. I don't care. I got to play that first game. Doesn't matter what happens. Because then I can calm down. Until I play that game, I'm a wreck.
It was, I mean, that was the story for most of the day, though, was just either drawing or very narrowly losing.
Yeah.
Like trying to push for a draw because it's coming in on those last moments and then someone's able to eke it out. But I would rather that happen than just drag everyone down into the draw dumps.
I'm hoping that there's some help coming. I think Spider-Punk, I know it just doesn't seem like it's just one card, but Spider-Punk and Redirect Lightning, there's new cards coming on the horizon that should help people win more. So that's a good thing. I think it'll help a lot. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm just worried that people are like kind of riding on Spider-Punk being real good, and then until they see a Deadly Rollick or a bounce spell and they get their big spell countered.
Oh, that's gonna happen.
I think,
but it's like
maybe yeah.
To me, it feels like the same, kind of like Vexing Bubble, in a way, where if the window is like there will be opportunities where the window is correct to drop the Spider-Punk and win. And those windows right now don't exist in certain in like colors like Grixis, for example. Right?
Yeah, it definitely feels like a Grixis equivalent to a silence effect in that it's not quite as good, I don't think. Yeah. And it's symmetrical, but yeah, we're definitely going to see it. People are going to try that card like crazy.
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking forward to it. And I think it's all about just shaving off percentage points. 44% of the invitational or draws or something like that. So I think some really high number. So even if you could just shave off like 6 or 7%, right? Then all of a sudden that makes a huge difference to just the feel of the format for a lot of people.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of people are just kind of dreading the just having to draw every time, and I think that comes with people getting better at the game and knowing what's happening to be able to try and force those draws, but fortunately it drags everybody in the pod kind of down a little bit.
Yeah, but and then I think there's also like, you start off the skill level down here where you don't know how to stop people from winning, right? So people winning through you all the time. Then your skill level comes up here where you start to understand how to stop people from winning, when to force draws, that kind of thing. And I think for the most part, the general population is there right now. Like that's where a lot more of the general population is there. where they understand the assignment. They understand how to stop the wins and force the draws. The next skill set above that is knowing when to say no to the draw offer, like realizing that there's still outs and reasonable outs for you to actually win the game and not accept the draw, right? And that's where we need to get to next.
I think that can get dicey though, because people will be like, well, then I'm not going to counter this or blah blah blah. But it definitely gets, you're definitely right, it's much more of a step up in skill to know exactly when you would be able to say no, because if your hands are tied, then
yeah, and again, it's like shaving percentage points, right? You're not expecting that you're going to go from 44% draws down to 10% draws. That's not really realistic, but you're going to get like some small percentage of the time where you were saying yes to draws where you didn't have to, and like learning to shave those percentage points off, I think will help everything. Hey man, this was cool, dude. This was good. I'm glad we managed to pull it off and find the schedule.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah. And hopefully I get to see you at some more events over the next year if you can find time.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to make it out to something. Hope they do something in Pittsburgh again. We got kind of called out by Critical that we didn't have much of a scene. I know there was general? Yeah. Some of the guys in the area, actually, we have like a bit of a Discord for Pittsburgh cEDH. And there were a few people that were like, guys, they literally called us out. We need to organize and get it together. So, but it seems like with Guy on the Couch getting top deck circuit, something's in the works. Maybe get some more people in and hopefully have a better scene for next time.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you live in the vicinity of Pittsburgh, you need to show up. You need to get your ass over to Guy on the Couch and participate. Like, come on. Seriously, let's go.
Sundays at 1.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. Come join our Discord. Come join again the CriticalEDH League and come jam with us. And I'll see you on the next one.